Yeah.
Don't talk straight into the microphone. Like this guy does.
Yeah.
He talks his P's all the time.
Okay.
When you make a P,
Okay.
so it's straightforward, right? So you're talking P's, right?
Okay.
So if you talk kind of past the microphone, just pretend it's not there. Don't even look at it. It doesn't exist. It's not there.
All right.
Just
Okay.
talk naturally.
I can do that.
Just talk naturally. You'll be fine.
We're live. Well, I'm not Giuseppe, so we're just in a studio right now. It's Talk Recovery is what it is. It's the co-op radio station.
Oh, another thing.
Studio.
Never touch
It's
the
Carrie.
microphone.
It's not
Okay.
Giuseppe.
But it's okay now. But when it's live, don't touch it.
Okay.
Because it
Carrie's
goes
good.
boom,
It's
and
good
people
shit.
at home go,
It's good shit.
ow!
Okay.
That's Francis over there. This is Jolene. We're gonna get into an interview.
This is ending. I'm going to put you on. You're on now.
And we are back live on Talk Recovery, Vancouver Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. And yeah, that was our second song, Powderfinger, a little song about my happiness. And stay tuned. We're gonna, if you want to stay by the volume dial, turn it up for a little James Brown at the end of the show. By all means, get ready for that. But now it's inspiration time. It's that time of our show where we have a guest come in and share their personal story about their journey, about their life, about changes that they've made. And we have Jolene Greyeyes in here today with us. Welcome to the show, Jolene.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, tell us a little bit about, your life. Tell us about what it was like, in the beginning.
Well, I was introduced to drugs at a very young age, just at the age of 12. I was introduced to crack cocaine, and, I struggled with substance and alcohol from the age of 12 until my mid-30s, or early 30s, I would say.
Oh, yeah, that's a good long time.
Yeah, so, at 16 I had my first child, and, things didn't work out in that relationship, and, the drinking and the partying, I ended up losing custody of my son. And, at age 19, I ended up here on the downtown east side.
And for how long were you on the east side, from 19 till?
1999 until 2011, I lived down here.
Wow. And, I mean, so this then becomes a story of survival.
Absolutely.
In a day-to-day, sort of, if we can call it a grind, is sometimes what it's like. How did you survive? Like, what?
Well, initially, I'm a woman. Obviously, I get by selling my body. I was a prostitute, and I also sold drugs as well to maintain my habit.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in many situations that could have got me killed. I've been assaulted on dates. I've been assaulted by people that I owed money to, and it was the same thing over and over and over again for a really long time.
Mm-hmm. And this is, I mean, a very serious story. It has its darkness to it. I mean, we're sitting here now today. You're a different person. What was it that brought you into the light?
I was in a homeless shelter called Lookout there on Alexander Street, and a lady who I thought I recognized but not really was in there, and she started talking to me, and it turned out to be a girl that I knew who also used to use with me for many years, and she was clean and sober, and she was a support worker for Lookout, and it was just strange. She looked so good. Her life was completely different. I often wondered, like, where did she go?
Right.
You just never know what happens to people when you're down there, right? Some disappear, and some reappear again.
Yeah.
And she introduced me to recovery, and I was introduced by her, and I came into recovery, but I didn't stay.
Right.
It took me almost 5 years in and out of recovery to actually achieve my first year of sobriety. So it was a struggle.
Yeah, it's 12 years for me. I know the struggle all too well. Okay, that's amazing. Like how important it is to have known somebody from the same life as you, and then to see them recovered, or looking better, doing well, offering some hope to you. I mean, it's like if you hadn't have known this person to come from where they came from, that it wouldn't have meant anything.
No, it wouldn't have. I thought I was destined to live down there the rest of my life.
I mean, would you not say that 100% of the people down here believe that same notion?
Absolutely.
And I mean, we were just talking during the song break there, coming back into this environment, that you spent years, I guess, just believing that you're going to stay,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're never going to get out. And then you're out. How important is it to come back?
It's really important. It's always it's an eye opener, and it's a reality of the life I used to live, and I was fortunate enough to overcome. And I come down here a little bit too often to remember people who've passed away since the fentanyl crisis started.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost, I would say now, 100 people that I've known personally.
Wow.
So I come down here a little bit too often than I'd like to remember the ones that I've passed on.
Right. And when you come down here and you run into people, that you know or that you knew, what sort of response do you get? Is it like you're coming down to sort of gloat, like, look how bad? Not saying that that's what you're doing, but do they perceive you like that?
No,
They don't?
absolutely not. I was just hanging out in the alley there with a friend of mine that I've known for 20 years, and he was just beyond ecstatic to see me and the changes that I made, and he was like, if you can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
That's the story that I wanna share. We can all escape.
Right. So there's society's mindset that the users down here, they want to be down here. They it's the lifestyle choice that they make. When you hear this, like, I mean, there is obviously some people, I've seen some people myself that were given an opportunity many, many times before, and they, there is a little bit of responsibility of choice, to keep coming back. But, like, how many people would you say, like, percent-wise, would take, the first opportunity to change like you have if they were given one? I mean, this is just an estimate guess, right? I mean...
Well, I think anybody would take a chance to escape if they were really given the chance,
Yeah.
shown the way. It's easy to get yourself into a recovery house, but, a lot of them are not, there to help the person. They're here to collect money, and, they're not really there to teach somebody how to live and get back into society.
Yeah. Do you think that there is a definite lack of opportunity and resources for the people down here on the east side?
I would say to access treatment and detox, yes. As far as support services and outreach workers, there's tons of support down here for the people who are living down here. I know there was a day that I never went hungry on the downtown east side because there's always somebody here,
right,
looking out for the people who are down here.
Yeah.
But it's a long wait to access detox. I have friends who made the call and wanted to get help, and they're told they have to wait. It's like,
Right.
could be up to 6 weeks. When an addict wants to get into detox, and they have that moment where they're willing, and they need to be able to get in. And what are they supposed to do for 6 weeks while they're waiting for a bed?
Well, I know what I did. It wasn't just sitting around waiting.
Exactly.
And that was it. Like, you're already in a cycle, so it's just sort of you get back into that cycle until one day when you do reach out, it's right there.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the story. So we're gonna continue the interview with Francis.
So I wanted to ask, I have a couple questions. They're a little bit more political in nature. So I want to get your opinion, just your own opinion from your own experience around, so for one thing, we have our first mental health and addictions minister in government. So how do you feel about that?
I think that's outstanding. I think BC really needs that separate ministry. you know, the amount of people suffering with addictions and mental health is like outrageous. There are so many people that are in need of that service, and you know, I really hope it makes a difference.
Right, and it's MLA Judy Darcy, Honorable Judy Darcy is the person heading that, and the logo for it is Ask Once, Get Help Fast. So I know quite a few of my friends and family have stayed in the downtown east side, and they've often said that there's lots of money flowing in to the downtown east side, that it's not a lack of money, that it's a lack of like in terms of supports, like there's lots of money going into resources, supports, harm reduction, that sort of stuff, but there's not money going into detox and treatments. And the thing, my brother who's down here said that he, you know, would have like 3 meals a day, never went hungry. Like you go here for breakfast, you go there for lunch, you go there for dinner, and then you go there for a dinner time snack or whatever, right? So it's just more streamlining those things. So if you had a meeting with Honorable Judy Darcy, like what would you say? What would you say that needs to happen in the downtown east side?
I would say to actually enforce the ask once and receive help concept, because, you know, people ask and then they're told to wait. You know, if you're going to say ask once, receive help, follow through with that and make sure that people are getting the help that they need.
Right. And are you familiar with Riverview?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you think that Riverview might play a hand in terms of getting people out of the downtown east side and into a safe place where maybe they have 3 meals a day, some structure, that sort of stuff? Like, do you think that might help?
Absolutely. I don't think that Riverview should have been shut down. You know, all the people that were in Riverview are now somewhere here lost on the downtown east side. That resource should never have been closed in the first place. We need that facility open.
Right. And then also a part of the 4 pillars of harm reduction, a part of that was supposed to be at one point legalizing sex work. Do you think that legalizing sex work would help or harm the women in the downtown east side?
That's really a touchy subject. I don't know if I want to touch that one, but you know, I don't know.
Is there anything that can be done to help the women? Because it's not uncommon. That's been, you know, the oldest profession. It's like you know, there's been brothels in the downtown east side ever since the downtown east side became the downtown east side. And so, you know, like is that helping or hurting? Helping people, women in addiction? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is there something that can be done on a government policy level that can help those women?
That I don't know.
Right, just like access to treatment if they need it, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay, now see, so Jordan's using my phone and all my questions are in my phone. So I had to write my questions down, so I apologize for having to look at this. So how do you maintain your recovery today?
Well, you know, I've had the opportunity to share my story with many different organizations, and you know, today, you know, I live in Abbotsford. You know, if I could be close to the downtown east side, I would be down here every day helping out. But you know, that's just you know, unaffordable. So you know, I finally got to know my community better. You know. So the ladies at City Hall in Abbotsford heard me on the radio and decided it would be a good idea for me to be their keynote speaker for the community forum. So I got to share my story with 200 different organizations from the Fraser Valley, and you know, I've received the abundance of opportunities since then. And you know, today I am a peer support worker for Positive Living Fraser Valley Society. And we do outreach for the homeless in Abbotsford, and you know, harm reduction, naloxone training, and you know, it feels good to actually be there and you know, offer support. You know, I have friends in Abbotsford who are struggling as well, so you know, I get to talk with them and you know, reach out to them too as well.
Right, and the Abbotsford and Maple Ridge community is growing in terms of 12-step, and what other kind of recovery programs are out there?
Well, there's a lot of programs out there. You know, there's treatment centers in Abbotsford and stuff like that. And you know, I choose not to be involved with a 12-step program. You know, at this time, you know, it doesn't really work for me. But you know, I'd rather give back to my community, and you know, actually be there and help the people that need it the most.
So how do you like, for me, my self-care, a big part of my self-care is relationship with my higher power and relationship with myself and others, lots of self-care, that sort of thing. For me, a 12-step program helps me do that. So what helps you do that?
What helps me is just, you know, focusing on others and not just myself.
Cool. Thank you so much for being on our show today, Jolene. We really appreciate you telling your story.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely very, very inspiring to know that there's always a way out. But it's not just left to the individual. Like, certain things have to sort of kind of line up, you know. And I know meeting people that tell me that, you know, what the way I'm living is awful and it's hurting people. It's like, yeah. But until I'm looking at someone that I know suffered the same way I am and that they're different, it was the only light that made any difference in my life as well. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and good luck with everything, and many more successes in you know, the journey forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.